Here live. We want to welcome you to our fifth expansion room. We are so excited to have you here. Today is for you if you are feeling like I am doing all the right things and yet I feel stuck. How many of you can relate to that? If you're here live, give me a heart or give me a one in the chat. Let me know because I know how many of us have had that feeling. I've had that feeling as well. And in fact, that's a big part of what inspired the creation of She Sells and Superhuman Selling. But what we think is often the problem is not actually the problem. Usually we think, okay, I just need to work harder. I just need to do more things. I just need to double down. And yet the needle doesn't move. And so today we're going to get into why that happens. What do we shift inside of ourselves first and foremost, and then strategically, if you are feeling stuck, and how can you rise to greater levels of achievement, of purpose, of clarity, and of impact, of money, of all the things that we're here for as well. So I just want to say first and foremost, if you are here live, thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Aubrey, Christy, David, Mary, Lauren is here. Hello, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. And one of the things that's powerful about registering for and joining live is that you get the opportunity to have your questions answered, to have live coaching. And so if there's something that you're going through right now where you're like, I'm feeling stuck, I feel like I'm like doing the right things, but I can't break through a certain threshold, please share in the chat. Feel free to use the chat to ask me your questions, to have the opportunity for live coaching. That's part of what this is here for and how we want to support you every week in this as well. I also want to just check because my internet this morning was spotty. Are you all hearing me okay? I'm like back from vacation. It's okay, good. I switched to my hotspot because that seemed to be doing better than the actual internet, but I am just calling in good, clear internet. It's going to be great. We're going to get everything communicated that needs communicated. And if at any point, for some reason, you can't hear something, just let me know. And I can switch to another network as well. Give me a one in the chat if this is your first expansion room. I see, I think, some new faces coming in here today, or at least one new face. So I want to welcome you. We are so glad to have you and so glad to have you as a part of this. And this space is designed to create a place where you can come in and literally expand every week. That is what you are here for. That is what, from a soul level, we want to do. And that's what my team and I are here to help support you in. And one of the things that I always laugh about is when I first launched She Sells many years ago now, on the surface, it feels like sales, right? Like people come in and they're like, okay, I'm a woman. I want to learn how to sell. By the way, we have superhuman selling too, which I launched because we had so many men in the community saying, I'm a man. Can I still join in? I was like, yes, we've got something for you. Because really, this material, so much of this material applies to all of us. But what I have learned from being in sales for over 20 years, from doing everything from B2B sales, door-to-door sales, I have sold yellow pages, I've sold media, I've sold everything you could imagine, is that until we do the inner work to clear the debris that would get in the way of becoming a match for what we want. And by debris, I mean old limiting beliefs, old patterns of thought that don't serve, um, fear of asking for what you really want, right? Your self-concept. Maybe you say, hey, I want to be a seven-figure entrepreneur, a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur, and yet I feel like I'm stuck at the six-figure level. It's not that you need to do more of what you're doing at your current level. That's actually the trap people fall into. It's that you get to shift your identity and your self-concept to see yourself as someone who is worthy of what you desire and who naturally and easily and automatically achieves what you desire. So today we're talking about, I'm going to give you some of the specific tools that I use in my own life and that we use internally in the community with our clients to help when you want to go to another level. What specifically do you do? And again, if you're here live, I want you to type your questions in the chat. This is a space for you to be coached. This is a space for you to be supported. This is a space where you have the opportunity to engage and interact with me directly. And I have found for myself, I much prefer live coaching and working directly on what's happening for you than me just talking for an hour. I feel like that's much more useful as well. So please do not hold back at all. If you are watching the replay of this or you're on YouTube, please make sure that you register for this to join us live on Zoom so that you can interact in the chat, so that you can get your questions answered. And so, team, if you can drop the link in the chat where everyone needs to register to join live every week, it's elysearcher.com/expansion-room to join live. Thank you so much. That'll help make sure that that you have the space to be coached and supported as well. And so every week in the expansion room, this is a new series we're doing. And I want to give a shout out to my team because they have done a beautiful job pulling this together and making this happen. We are moving through a process I call the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth, which is what happened for me when I personally went from being stuck at the same level of income for over 10 years, feeling like I was always grinding, always pushing, always forcing, and looking at other people living their vision board life. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Why is it happening for them and not for me? And when this clicked in, when I made these shifts, hold on, I'm getting a call. This doesn't interrupt the bandwidth. Okay. When I made these shifts, I quantum leaped. I turned my annual income into my monthly income. I did 10x in 6 weeks. And it came after such a period that felt so long and so hard of like, man, I want more for my life. Man, I see other people doing this. I want that level of life and lifestyle for my family. I'm doing the right things. I'm taking the sales courses. Like I knew I was tactically good at selling. That's always been something that's just been a gift. I'm good at it. But there was something where I wasn't able to break past a plateau. And so if you are there, if you feel like you are in a plateau, or maybe you can relate, like, man, you know what? I've been there before. Drop a 1 in the chat or give me a heart. Let me know, because I know what those moments are like. And I know what it's like. Yes, like I know what it's like to know that there's something greater for you and to have a sense that it's there and to see other people doing it and to say, is it really possible for me too? Right? I see so-and-so doing it. I see so-and-so creating the business or the life that I want. And yet, is there just something different about them? Is there just something special about them that's not available to me? What I'm here to say is that no, there is nothing unique. There is nothing special other than they decided they could have it. And part of what's so powerful about the world and how we live is that everything operates by universal law. Now, I didn't know universal law for a long time. I grew up with very left brain, highly educated parents who were brilliant in so many ways. And we were really focused on academics growing up. And so if you had told me there were universal laws that govern how things operate on our planet, I would have said, can I measure it? Is that written in the textbook somewhere? How do I know? Right? It took me a long time to not to come into this material, but to really embrace it for myself. And I think it took getting to a point of being humbled where I said, what I am trying to do is not working, and I'm willing to look for another way. And for me, that came after very close back to back, the death of a dear friend and then the birth of my first son, and saying, I don't know how long I have. I hope I have a lot more, but I don't want to keep living my life unfulfilled, saying I desire more. I want more for myself and for my family, but I'm making excuses or reasons why other people can have it and I can't. And so in the expansion, that's a long way of saying that the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth is when I looked back on how in the world did I get unstuck? And it came in so fast when it happened that I was like, how was it so hard for so long? Why did I feel stuck for so long? This is the method that we now teach in our community that will help you quantum leap. It helps others quantum leap. And so team, if we could drop the link for the free training for the 4 quadrants in the chat, that would be great. We do a free training on it that you can grab, and we'll drop that in the chat. I'm just checking in the chat here with what is going on. Oh, Lauren, is my video freezing? I'm getting a comment that my video is it okay or is
You're
it not
much
good?
better now. And we can hear you, and that's
Okay.
what counts.
Oh, all right, y'all. I don't know. I'm sorry. I've tried every network this morning. Like if we can at least hear and hopefully it's not freezing on a really awkward facial shot, although it tends to like to do that. And that just so y'all at least, maybe you'll get a good laugh this morning. Let me know if the audio, if we need to do something because of the audio, but fingers crossed you can at least hear. Okay. Let me see. Comments in the chat. Possible, Mary, it is possible for me too. That is what changes everything. If you are feeling stuck right now, and I don't ever want you to feel stuck, feeling stuck is one of the most uncomfortable moments for us as humans because you are wired to expand. You are meant to consistently grow. So if there's a vision, a desire that you hold, and you feel like I'm doing everything, I'm trying everything, and yet it's not happening, there's something in your belief systems that's blocking you from achieving that. It's okay to feel stuck. It kind of exposes a light and shines a light on places where we get to shift our internal dialogue or our self-concept. But Mary, that decision of if someone else can do this, I can too. That's what changes everything here. So just as you come into this space, I want to invite you to really connect with your vision and to really think about what it is. And maybe I know we've got a number of members of the community who are wanting to create a farm for themselves and their family. We've got a lot of that in the community, which is really fun. A lot of women who like want a farm and they also want to wear their Louboutins on it. Like, let's go. Let's do it. Um, or maybe seeing yourself top of the leaderboard in your corporate job. Maybe it's taking your family on an all expenses paid like luxury vacation. But I just want you to take a moment and to connect with that vision and then to realize that if anyone else on this planet has done it, you can too. That's really what this takes. And so the key is not to say, how can I keep trying to achieve it from my present level of consciousness? But what level of consciousness, how would someone think who has that result? How would they view themselves? How would they think? And I'm going to teach a couple of methods today that are going to help you with that, to apply that. But today we're diving into the first quadrant of quantum sales growth, which we call mind over matter. Now, when you hear mind over matter, that can often be perceived as, what do we think? Like, just push through. It doesn't matter how you feel, just make it happen. But what I want to talk about here, and this is rooted in neuroscience, it's rooted in quantum physics, is how your mind literally influences the 3D physical matter in your life. And so that's what we're going to be diving into. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. Let me let my dog out of the room because he's scratching at the door. One moment, and then we're going to come in and get into it. But be thinking about your vision and be in the energy of if anyone else can, I can too. That's the first shift. So hold, please. I'll be right there. All right. This is a live stream, y'all. This is what happens when we live stream. I walk out the door and my other dog has our nanny's shoe. So, all right, we intervened. Um, so let's talk first about this energy of stuckness. And I remember I had a moment where I just decided, I was like, I can't be stuck anymore. And it was around the time when I mentioned that a good friend of mine passed away in his sleep at age 39. I wasn't that much younger than him. Um, I'm not going to joke that I'm not going to disclose my age, but my son goes around telling everyone that I'm 40. So there you go. Y'all know. But like I wasn't that much younger than him at the time. And I just remember looking at everything that was on my vision board at that time. And it was things like I want to have a 7-figure business. I wanted to have a certain type of home. I wanted to have a certain amount of money in the bank. Um, And what I've learned since then is that I really wanted those things because I thought they were going to make me feel some kind of way. And what I've learned since then is that it's not the things themselves. It's actually who you become in the process. You become someone who can hold 7 figures of revenue in your business, 8 figures of revenue in your business, whatever your goal is. You become someone where it feels normal and natural to live in that type of a home or to retire your partner, whatever your vision is for yourself right now. But I just remember before I made the decision to get unstuck, how much of my energy was tied up in fighting present circumstances. How many of you can relate to that? And this can be tough to do because present circumstances can draw in a lot of your attention, right? It can feel like they're screaming at you and we're trying to change a situation from the same level of consciousness that created it. It doesn't work. I think it was, I don't know if it was Einstein who said you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. Someone brilliant, this is not my own quote, but someone brilliant talked about that. And so much of my energy was caught up in anxiety about bills I had coming up to pay, self-doubt, like thinking about what I wanted, but then feeling just a ton of doubt about it or saying, oh, well, I could never actually have that. Into it was caught up in analyzing what was wrong with me and why other people could have that, but I couldn't. I remember when I would get on sales calls with people, I would feel I was working with a larger company at the time, and I helped start this company, but I would get on a discovery call and I would know we had something really good, but I would be so nervous about the call. I don't know how many of you can relate to that, but it was like it really mattered if that person bought from me or not, because it was going to determine whether we could do something as a family or not. And I felt like I was always grinding. I felt like I was always pushing. I felt like I was burning the candle at both ends. Let me know. Give me a one in the chat if you can relate to this. Like, let me know, because I know I'm not the only one. And these things happen again when we're trying to ascend to a new level of results, but we haven't shifted our identity to match that yet. That's actually what that stuck feeling is. So it's not about trying to fight against what is, because whatever is just a mirror of your old way of thinking. It's about rising above that level of thinking and becoming a totally different version of yourself. And Mary, you can relate in there. Yeah, it's something that impacts all of us at some point, right? And so you may be listening to this and being like, you know what? Um, there is a part of me, like even if I don't tell anyone, there's a part of me that feels kind of quietly like frustrated with life or unfulfilled, or I feel like I'm working hard, but I'm plateauing, right? Or I want more, but I'm normalizing just good enough in my life. And what I see so many high performers do, and part of why my heart and my passion are in helping you ascend to a whole nother level, is just quietly adapting to a level that no longer fits for you, that no longer matches who you are, that no longer matches who you've become. And you may have heard me say this in the community before if you're part of it, but what I know and what I've seen is that there's an inflection moment in our life where your comfort zone becomes a cage and you realize that you've settled at a certain level. Maybe it's, I have enough money to survive, but not to thrive. You know, I was talking to a high performer on a sales team a couple of months ago who said, and he makes what most people would consider really good money, but he was like, I always make just enough to pay the bills. That's it. And he's got at least one child who's special needs. He takes care of his whole family. He's the breadwinner. And he was talking about how he wants more for his life, but like no matter what happens, no matter how much he makes, he always has enough money to survive, but not overflow, not enough to thrive. Or maybe you have enough business to stay busy, but not actually feel free, right? Or things look good externally, but deep down you feel unfulfilled. And each of us has a set point. Gay Hendricks talks about this in the book, The Big Leap. Each of us has a set point, a conditioning, a programming for how much we feel comfortable allowing in, how much money, how much success, how much visibility. And so if you want to expand your life, if you want to make more money, if you want to grow your business, it's not about just doing the right things. It's about fundamentally shifting your relationship with the idea of more. And that's something we've been talking about a lot in the community lately. For those of you who are part of 10K Club or the Mastermind, the 50K Club, it's shifting your relationship with more because there is a different version of you who can operate at that next level than who is at the current level. And this is all about deeper down fears or hesitations around, well, what if I'm more visible? What does that mean? If I make more money, are people going to want more money from me? Is it going to cause issues in my marriage? Like all of these things are under the hood, right? We're not consciously aware of them usually, but when you recognize that you have a set point for what you're willing to allow into your life, like Gay talks about in the Big Leap, the work becomes not so much about, all right, I want a different result, so let me just do something different, but let me recalibrate my set point. Let me shift my identity here where I recognize that maybe it felt maybe even aspirational and then comfortable for me to earn the amount of money I'm making now, but maybe I really want more. Okay, well, that old comfort zone where your beliefs are wired, where your body feels safe, where you know no one's going to hurt you. Maybe it's not enough, but it's at least you know you're alive there. You reach a point where you realize that is a cage and it's a self-imposed one. No one's doing it to you but you. So today will hopefully be a moment of awareness, a moment of awakening. And then for those of you who want to go deeper in working with me and the team on empowering you to really shift this, to expand your financial set point, to grow, to be able to allow in more. I'll talk about at the end some things we've got coming up, which are really exciting. We've got one really cool event coming up at the end of this month too, and how you can get involved in that as well. And so I am actually going to pull out a slide for all of you today. Believe it or not, I was thinking about the training. I usually don't do this, but I was like, you know what? I want to have a visual for this. So give me a moment to pull this up for everyone. And we're going to share this. Hold on, let me set up my show. Good, good. Oh, I don't want the start. Hold on. One moment, y'all. By the way, is sound okay? Is video okay? We're good? Aubrey, I can see you. I've got the tiles at the top. You're the only one I can see. So awesome. Thank you. All right. Play from current slide. Beautiful. So I'm going to share my screen here so that you all can have a visual of what we're talking about. Okay. Can you all see that okay inside? Beautiful. Thank you. So there's a concept that I teach and that we teach in the community. And this is something our consultants get certified to teach as well. This is called the identity gap. The idea behind it is, let's say that you have a goal here. If you're here live, I'd love for you to type your number one goal right now in the chat. I want to hear from you. What is it that you're calling in? What is it that you're creating? Is it a certain amount of money in your business this year? Is it launching a new business? Is it like I see Mary on here. I know you're opening up your school, which is so beautiful. Like what is your number one goal right now? I see people thinking. I'm going to give you a minute to think. I see typing too. And if you're watching the replay, just take a moment and think about what that is. If you could snap your fingers and have anything right now, what would it be? And I'm really curious about that. I see hands typing. Ooh, Mary, full enrollment. I love it. Laura, consistent clients and opportunities. Beautiful. Okay. I'll give another minute for anyone else who wants to share. Ooh, Aubrey, 5 aligned clients with a wait list. Yeah, we love wait lists. Okay. So that's the goal, right? And that's over here. Hopefully y'all can see my mouse moving here. Your goal is there. Now, the key is not to try to make that happen from your present level of consciousness. So this is where we all get to take radical responsibility, all right? You are not the one who programmed yourself. Your parents did, your caretakers did, the people around you did. All right. You're not the one who did it. And if you are here live listening, it is now up to you, and it is your responsibility to reprogram yourself to be a match for what you want. And when I say reprogram, I simply mean creating the self concept, your subconscious view of yourself that's going to influence your results. That's going to determine how you feel about yourself every day. That's going to determine the actions you take, and those are going to determine your results. So it is, even if you're not the one who created the programs, you're the one holding them now, my love. And so it's time now to say, okay, I'm willing to shift. Like, I recognize this. If I want to change this, I'm going to shift. So your goal is here. Your identity is here. There is a gap between the goal and your identity. And that gap is composed of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So I'll share with you today a process we use in the community just at a high level so you can start to see and think and feel like, what does this look like? But this is the gap. And so if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you're struggling right now, I don't like that word struggle, by the way. We don't use that in the community, but I understand if you're feeling like that's happening, like it can feel annoying. It can feel like, oh my gosh, like how quickly can I change my reality? Like, where's the money in the bank? Where are the clients? Where's this? Where's that? Don't try to change the external. Focus on who would I need to be to have this thing happen in my life, where this would be a natural byproduct of who I am. I'm thinking about a few years ago, I'm going to stop the share here. A few years ago, I flew out to California to work with a billionaire client. This was a really cool client. It was one of his homes. I don't even know how many homes this man has, but one of his homes. Many people, even though they wouldn't admit it, they would say, I want that home. They would feel uncomfortable in that home. It wouldn't feel natural to them. To have a home the size of a shopping mall would not feel comfortable to them. To have people around 24/7 to take care of them, to wait on them, would not feel comfortable to them. To have that level of luxury and beauty around them all the time would not feel, they would feel like, ooh, something's wrong, right? How many of you understand that? Like, because it would not feel normal because it's not necessarily aligned with what you experienced growing up. There would be a part of you that didn't feel safe in that. Now, to this particular individual, he has reconditioned his belief systems where that does feel normal. He grew up in a trailer park. Anything can happen. Anything can shift. I'll accept it all. I love it, Mary. Yes, that's one of the best things you can say to yourself, by the way. When you see someone who has the thing that you desire, say, yes, thank you. Thank you for showing me what's possible. I'll take that. I love it. Yes. Like, say that. That's part of how you can start to condition yourself to do that. So even like Aubrey with the wait list, you see someone who has a wait list and you're like, yes, that's amazing. Good for them. I'll take it. Right. We were in, I mean, nowhere exotic this weekend, but North Carolina this weekend. And we were driving by, we were in some, driving by some cars that were parked in the parking lot of the airport. And there was like this beautiful, it was, I don't think I'd ever drive a purple Ferrari, but it was a purple Ferrari. And I was like, yes, good for you. Or like a lime green Lamborghini. I was like, man, North Carolina's come a long way. Good for them. But I've trained myself. Like, there was a time in my life where I probably would have looked at that and judged it and been like, who are you to do that? Or, oh, I could never have that. You would, yeah, Laura, you would have been in heaven. You would have been like, this is my spot. I'm here. There were some good cars in North Carolina this weekend, y'all. Seriously. But what I did, and this is how you know you're a match for something, is I saw it and I was like, yes, good for them. That's awesome. That's the energy that that's one of the little things you can start to do to start to shift your set point. Is you see someone who has what you want, like Mary, you see someone who has full enrollment on their program and you're like, yes, good for them. That's awesome. They can do it. I can do it too. It's just like that. It's just that same energy. But so going back to the story of the billionaire, there's a beautiful recognition of, like, even though probably everyone on this call or watching the replay would say, well, yeah, of course I want that. Of course I want a 50,000 square foot home as one of my homes. Of course I want a full wait staff. Of course I want the most beautiful ocean views in California. Would it feel normal to you? Would it feel like, of course? Would it feel like, yeah, it's no big deal? Like I woke up today and I put on my shoes and it just is what it is? Probably not, right? That's okay. But that's what we get to work on. This is why I love doing this work, especially when there's a company or an individual who's like, I've got all the right strategic things. I've got all the right tactical things to do, but I'm not ascending. I'm not growing. I'm not hitting my goals the way I want to. It's because you haven't normalized that thing for yourself yet. There's still a gap. There's an identity gap that we get to close. Amy, $1 million home. Yes, I love it. When I've shared this before in the community, when we moved into this home last year, there was a part of me who was like, is this okay? Like I bought it. I knew I did it. It's like, yes, this is beautiful. It happened fast when we decided, but there was a period of probably 3 weeks when we first moved in where there was a part of me that wasn't comfortable in it. Now it feels really normal. Now I'm looking at additional homes. Like now it's normal, but it took saying, I'm a woman who can have this type of home. I'm a woman who can do this. This is normal if other people can as well. So, and I wasn't raised that way necessarily. So Amy, with your goal of $1 million home, you can, like, if I can do it, you can do it. That's what I want to say. You can 100% do it yourself. And it's just levels, right? Like I normalized that over that type of home. And then my client normalized that over a $50 million home, right? It's all just levels. But the fun in it is what's the level of consciousness that I get to rise up to where that feels normal, where that feels natural. And so this is where we start to close the identity gap. I'm going to pull back up my slides because we are just doing this today. And this is fun. So this is when I'm on stage. Sometimes I share this. So the key is not to try to change circumstance. The circumstances are going to change naturally when you do this. The key is to create the identity of who you want to become. Now, how do we do that? I think my next slide. Yeah, look at this, y'all. Some of you know this. If you're in the community, you know this. I'm going to expand this a little bit on my screen here. If you're not yet, you may not know this, but this is part of what we do with our clients. This is the old personality, new personality exercise. And this is just an example. It's one that I've pulled from working with a lot of different clients over the years. It's not about any particular individual, but here's the idea behind it. Joe Dispenza says your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is composed of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions or your behaviors. So your present personality created your present personal reality. If you want to create a new personal reality, you have to literally become someone different. Now, this feels like death to the ego. This is part of why it feels so hard because your ego gets comfortable. Your subconscious, your being gets comfortable being at a certain level. You can feel comfortable in scarcity. And that's a really good question to ask yourself. If you're not hitting your financial goals in your business right now and you're in an energy of scarcity, what part of me is comfortable here? Right? Maybe I grew up with it. Maybe I was told by my mom that maybe I picked up on a belief that like I'd never be loved if I shone too bright or I was too big or too this or too that. We can be comfortable in struggle. All of those things can feel normal and comfortable. So the key is to actually become someone new who's no longer comfortable in those things, who says no to those things, who's unavailable for those things, who creates safety in an idea of not being involved in those things. And that's actually part of, we're going to talk at the end of the call today about my mastermind, because we've got a retreat coming up at the end of the month. And some of you are going to be there. So you're going to hear the theme. I haven't shared it with the group yet. But it's called Space for Wealth. That's what we're going to be working on, is space for wealth. That's about creating the internal safety to feel and to allow another level of wealth to come into your life, because that's really required. How do we do that? We have to become someone where that feels normal and natural. And Lauren, my director of marketing, is on here. So Lauren, this is a good time to tell you it's called Space for Wealth. It's the theme of the retreat. It came to me this weekend. I was laying there in bed and I suddenly woke up. I was in bed with my 1-year-old all weekend because we were in a different spot. And it dropped in space for wealth. So there you go, Lauren. We can share that with people. Good, Laura. I hope you're there for it. It's going to be really good. I'm really excited. But so the idea is you go to the vision of what you want, right? What do you want? So I'm seeing in here a wait list, $1 million home, 5 aligned clients, like whatever it is, get very crystal clear on that. And then who has that? What type of person has that? What are their thoughts? What are their feelings? What are their behaviors? I want to tell you this. I think this is so important. If you're in a scenario right now where you feel stuck, it's a gift. Now, I know it doesn't feel like a gift. Trust me. I know it feels like the opposite of a gift. And if you get caught up in existing circumstance and trying to fight it, trying to change it, you're not actually getting the gift. You get the gift when you recognize, oh, okay, there's another level of me who's meant to evolve here. There's a greater version of me that's meant to come forth here. I'm going to stop my share. There's a new capacity that's meant to emerge in me here. I have chills while I share this with all of you. One who thinks greater for herself or himself. One who is less apologetic about what you want. One who takes less BS from other people, perhaps. One who expects far greater. One who maybe isn't caught up in the wounds and the old programs of the past. One who feels worthy to receive at another level. And you realize that that stuckness is indicative that there's another level of you that's wanting to emerge. And he or she is the only one who can carry you through this. Does that make sense? You all with me there? This is really powerful. And what's more powerful about that is that that version is the more expanded version of you. That is closer to your truth of who you really are. The version who's more unlimited, the version who receives more easily, the version who has the wait list, the version who has the book deal, the version who does this or that. That is what you are meant to receive in this scenario where you feel stuck. So stop trying to make it about the external and make it about the internal shifts. And so if anyone wants live coaching on this, we can actually go to your goal and do some live work on this. Some of you are in the community right now, which I love because I already know your goals and we work on this intimately. Some of you are not yet. So feel free either way. If you're here live and you want to raise your hand and actually build out the version of you who has what you want, what you desire, I can do that here with you live. But this is the work. And this is what most people won't do. And most people will complain or fight existing circumstance or say, oh, this never happens for me. You got to get out of that energy. And this is something else that Joe Dispenza talks about, that it requires a huge amount of energy to change, a huge amount of determination, of being willing to get uncomfortable, of being willing to leave behind what you already know, to say, I know what happens when I'm at my old level of consciousness because I've seen it. And if I want something greater for myself, for my family, for my kids, my grandkids, the people around me, I am willing to change. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to get uncomfortable. I'm ready to do the work. That's what's required here. That's what's required here. So you literally write out, for the new goals that I have, what are the thoughts I'm having from that end result? What are the feelings I'm feeling? And then what are the actions I'm taking? And then you stop trying to focus your energy on changing or making different circumstances move. You start focusing and funneling all of your energy into being that person, being that version of you. And then the results naturally come as a byproduct. They have no choice. Amy, you have your hand raised. I can't wait to hear from you. Tell me about what you're calling in, what you're creating, and let's work on, well, who do you get to be to actually have that happen for you?
Okay, I can't come off the video, but I can talk.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I put $1 million home, obviously, but I still think like when you were talking about this in the very beginning, I definitely still felt like I was in a cage. And so I was visualizing myself getting out of it, locking it and looking at it and saying, I'm not in that cage anymore. Like I'm not there. So I mean,
Mhm.
is that like what you're saying and how you mean to literally like and then imagining, so just for an example, my son's getting married this weekend and we're going down to Beaumont, Florida. Her family is extremely wealthy. They have a $5 million home down there and a condo and all the things. And so just trying to make myself already feel as if I have as much money
Yeah.
or as have not as much money as they do, because then I don't want to compare it to that, but
Mhm.
that maybe I'm on that level, like just trying to put myself to feel comfortable at that level,
Yeah. Yeah.
like feel that, comfort. Don't let it make you feel uncomfortable that they have so much. And I don't really, but then again, yes, I do.
Yeah. So here's what's so
I
powerful,
just want to
Amy.
make sure that what I'm feeling and telling myself and, is kind of going in the right direction.
Yeah, I love it. So here's what's so powerful. Bob Proctor talked about this, that to achieve any goal, you need to know two things: where you're going and where you are. That's it. That's all you need to know. So I think sometimes we can bypass, especially in the personal growth and development and spiritual community, we can bypass like actually recognizing where we are with things right now and be like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm going to just focus on what I want and where I'm going. That's helpful and that's powerful. And you need to know if you have a discomfort around a certain level of wealth. You got to know and recognize, okay, I'm not allowing myself to bring enough money into my business right now, or I'm having fights with my business partners, or this or that. Not because we're going to stay there, but because we want to become aware of it. So we know it's kind of like you're plugging in a destination in the GPS. You got to know your starting point, you got to know your end point, right? So we want to just have an awareness of that. So to me, in what you shared, there's a few things that are really important. One, you started to take yourself out of the cage. Now, I think that's really important. And I think that's a powerful first step to even recognize, okay, let me just see that I've put this like energetic cage around me. Let me see myself in that. But I realize how easily I can come out and now view myself and look down from a different perspective to say, oh, there's another possibility outside of this. That's when we start to associate more with the new version, the new personality versus the old. And you realize there's different parts of you. And this is real work. There's a beautiful practice called parts work where you really look at all the different parts of you and integrate them together. Because there can be a part who is like, yes, I'm a multimillionaire. Yes, I live in a $5 million home. Yes, I do this. And there can be another part, like the scared, sad child part, who's like, oh, that's not safe. That's going to cost me my relationships. That's going to cause projection, judgment, whatever. The subconscious is always going to win. So if there's a part controlling that, who doesn't feel safe in that, to even start to see that part and no longer I talk in the community about identifying something versus identifying with it. When we can identify it and say, oh, I see this part. This isn't all of me, but this has been running the show. We start to get real work and real transformation here as well. So even just expanding beyond, energetically beyond that cage of your current comfort zone, you're going to feel some shifts there. You're going to feel some things start to change and you're going to start to have different perspective. And then you can dialogue with the part of yourself who's still in the cage. What are you afraid of? What are you nervous about? What are you attached to? What are you holding on to? And start to actually address it and work through it. The other thing I want you to do this weekend, and by the way, congrats to your son and your family. It's really exciting. I want you to
Thank you.
notice, yeah, absolutely. I want you to notice when you're in that home, what parts feel natural and comfortable and then what don't. And just notice. If there's a judgment that comes up, write it down. If there's, ooh, do I fit here? Do I belong here? Write it down. Because the version of you who lives in a home like that, or your own version of it, she doesn't wonder if she fits. She doesn't wonder if she belongs. So that's where you can start to use present circumstances just to have an awareness of your old thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that have created the current results, write them down, and then pick one to work on, right? You're going to have a slew. You're going to have my old personality, new personality list is pretty long. Like I keep it on a note on my phone. It's lengthy. And that's okay. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not trying to change everything overnight here. That's okay. But I like to work on one or two things at a time to really intentionally shift them. And so just notice and write down this weekend when you're in the home. Are there judgments that
Okay.
come up on them or on myself? What are the specific thoughts I'm thinking about it? Just write it down. And
Okay.
then the new personality, you think about what's the opposite of that? Like the truth, the thing that's going to be in alignment with you having that result is usually going to be the opposite of that or something like it. And you write that down and then you practice that new thought. You affirm that new thought. You start believing that new thought. That's the work.
Okay. Awesome.
Really
Thank
good
you.
example. Yeah, I love it. I love the live work here. It's so much more fun than just like teaching this without having the interaction. So I appreciate that. I think that's really powerful. And that's gonna shift a lot for you to
Me
do that
too.
this week. So yeah,
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, I'm going to do that. So thank you
Okay,
so much.
amazing. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So that's the work. When we're feeling stuck, when we're ready to move beyond a current level, it's the identity work. It's the personality work. Does that make sense? Do you all have any other questions on any of that for those of you who are here live? I'm going to give everyone a moment to think about what your questions are. I love it. I will share. Oh, good, Laura. Okay, good. Laura, let me share about how people can go deeper and work it. And then I want to come to your question. We can wrap on that. That's perfect. So if you are joining us and you are not yet part of the community, I want to invite you to go deeper in this work. It is one thing to sit here and listen and say, yes, this sounds so good. It's another thing. And the transformation comes when you invest in yourself. The transformation comes when you say, let me get in a community of like-minded individuals who are also unavailable to play small anymore and come be in my energy and the team's energy for us to help support you towards your goals. And so we have a number of beautiful programs. Team, if we can drop the next steps link in the chat here for someone to either book a call with the team or to look at the programs we have going on right now, that would be great. But the two main things thank you so much. The two main things I want to direct you to today are our signature program is the 10K Club. That is my group coaching program. That is my baby. I love this program. It is 5 years now of teaching. When you come in, you get 5 years of teaching from me on mind over matter, rewiring your mind, your beliefs for anything you want, money, wealth, consciousness, universal law, integrating masculine and feminine energy so that you can ascend and quantum leap in way less time. And then strategic method is the fourth quadrant. So what's the strategy? I've coached, again, billionaires, some of the world's top entrepreneurs, some of the top sales professionals in the world on their strategy. Can help you with strategy all day long. We've got that in spades. We're going to do it on the foundation of building the identity of the person, the version of you who naturally has what you want. And so that's a 12-month group coaching program. You get live coaching from me twice a month. You get lifetime access to our core modules. You also get the community. You get an event ticket. It's phenomenal. You need to be in there. If this is speaking to you, I want to not just encourage you, but just be like, let's go. Let's do it. It will change your life to get in there. And so my team dropped the link for that. That's ElyseArcher.com/10K club to come join. We have a paid in full option where you can save a little bit of money. And we also have a payment plan because I wanted to make it accessible to anyone. So if you have questions on that, feel free to drop them in the chat, but that community is gold. It's phenomenal. You will be in the energy of others who are ascending, and that in and of itself is going to ascend you dramatically. So I cannot recommend that enough. The second level and tier up is my mastermind. That's the 50K club. Some of you who are here live are part of that, which I love. That is a really special, intimate, high-powered group of women. That is a women's mastermind. If you are already at the six-figure earning level and you're ready to go to multiple 6 or 7 or beyond, that group is for you. You have the 10K club. You also have 2 additional calls a month. You have access to some of my mentors, my network in that. We have a private group chat where you can connect with the other women. It is all about spiritual, feminine, wealth, energetics, building your multi-million dollar business, life, empire. You can be in corporate and come join us there. We have amazing women in corporate who are ascending there too. And you will not find a better community, a better group of women to help support you towards your goals. In that group, we have a retreat coming up at the end of the month in Rosemary Beach, Florida. That's happening the 29th and 30th of this month. When you join the mastermind, when you apply for and join the mastermind, you will get access to that retreat as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing a theme of creating space for wealth. I get a lot of intuitive downloads for my clients and for this group and this mastermind in particular. What we're going to be doing and what I can feel and tell in the community is needed right now is creating the somatic space, creating nervous system safety around allowing in multiples of wealth of what you're already allowing in. Because there's a version of you who doesn't feel safe yet at that level if you haven't experienced it yet. That's what we're going to be working on shifting so that you can have the internal capacity to hold the money that you're desiring in your business. And so we've got some really cool experiences coming for the women who are part of that. And we'd love to have you. So thank you, Kim, for dropping that in. It's elysearcher.com/50K club if you want to go and apply for that group. And then you get access to the retreat as part of that and upcoming retreats as well. But it's going to be really, really powerful. And if you want to book a call, elysearcher.com/next-steps. There's a link on there to book a call where you can connect with my team and we'll talk about what's going on for you. What are your current challenges? What are you looking to call in? What's speaking to you? What's your dream? What's your vision? And how we can help support you as well. And so, all right. I am so excited for those of you who are moving forward, who are getting involved on a deeper level. And Laura, let's hear what your question is before we wrap for today.
Thank you. And I just want to say I'm part of the community and I can't recommend it enough. I feel like I've grown so much. So yeah, if there's any part of you that's just like thinking about it a little bit, at least book that call.
Thank you for that. We love you. And the way that you have grown and ascended and done so many powerful things in a short amount of time, like it's beautiful. It's so powerful. And so we love you and love having you. And I think you're on such a powerful path. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have this question that I suspect or maybe hope that I'm not the only one who has this question. So
Yeah.
I love, I mean, as you know, we work together. I love the old personality, new personality. And the more I do this work, the easier it is for me to understand like who the version of me is, who has what the life that I'm looking to have in terms of like the thoughts and feelings. It's like quicker, like, oh, I know who she is in that regard. And the part where I sometimes get caught up, and I'm hoping it's not just me, is the actions piece, because that's when suddenly it's like left brain's like, so can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I suspect I'm not the only one.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what you do. You go to the end and you say, what would I do from the end result? Now, will you be able to do all of it all at once? Maybe not. Like maybe your end result is living in a house like that billionaire client. Can you do that right now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of talking generically to the group. How close can you get to it? That's my question. That's it. For example, in North Carolina this week, I know part of my vision is I want a penthouse condo in downtown Durham. Like I love it. I've lived there before. It's beautiful. We were visiting there. There's 2 beautiful penthouses that are available for sale right now. And I went on a tour. Like I didn't have a tour booked, but I walked by. I was like, I'm going in. And I get in, and there's a concierge, and he's like, "There's no one here. There's no one available for a tour right now." I was like, "It's okay. I'll come back. I know there'll be someone." So we went. We did our thing, and I just had this knowing. I was like, "I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna make this work. Like I'm here for the weekend. I don't have another time outside of this to come do this, so I know it's gonna happen for me now." And I said, we had 15 minutes until we had to get back in the car to drive back to my dad's house for the afternoon. And I was like, I'm just going to pop in one more time because I feel like there's going to be someone there. I walk in, the broker for the 2 condos, she just happens to be standing at the front desk, and she happens to have 15 minutes until her next tour of the 2 units. And I was like, hey, I'm in town for just a few more, like today, a few more hours, and then we got to leave. Can you show that to me? She's like, absolutely, it's no problem. So in that moment, did I have everything I needed to buy a condo there? No, that's okay. But what was the next step? I could go on a tour. I could get in there. I could get in the energy. That's what I'm talking about here. So you pull the thread. You have to decide it's for you, though. This is the key. If you're wishy-washy about it, you're like, I don't know. I don't deserve it. I haven't seen the money for it yet. Who am I to do that? It's not going to happen for you. You've got to be in the energy of it's happening now. From the end, what actions, if I knew, here's what I want you to think about. If I knew my success was guaranteed, what actions would I take? If I knew this was happening no matter what actions would I take? Then you act from that place and you do everything you can from that place. The Science of Getting Rich has a chapter on efficient action. This is important. What we're talking about here is not just sitting around and like lollygagging, looking at your vision board all day. Like there's action that's taking, but it's the energy that you're in when you take the action that matters. Go to, I know you know this, but I want to reiterate this. Go to the vision first. Get clear on that. Who is the version of me who has this? Thoughts, feelings, behaviors. With the behaviors, you start aligning your actions with those now. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel unnatural, but you do everything you can from where you are in the energy of this is already done. That's what quantum leaps. That's what shifts things. That's what creates the elevation, the skipping of levels experience that people talk about when they talk about the quantum leap. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. That's super helpful.
And help? I love it. Such a good question. All right, y'all, we got 1 minute left. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you want to connect with my team and talk about how we can help support you, we would love to. ElyseArcher.com/next-steps. And come register and join us live again for the expansion room next week, Tuesday at 11 Eastern. ElyseArcher.com/expansion-room. We will see you there. Bye for now, everyone. Have a great Tuesday.